We came, we saw, we kicked its ass.
A bit of an obvious question to start off with, but how did you settle on the title American Made?
Well, you know, Barry Seal's story of this pilot who's, you know, kind of flying for the CIA in the 80s and you know, amazingly talented, and the airplanes are really powerful, but like it's maybe not being used in the most responsible way, or he's, you know, he's not really in control of the power. You know, there's something about that feels parallel to sort of the United States and some of its foreign policy moves, like the war in Central America that's portrayed in American Made, and that there's something therefore very American about this story. Also, you know, when I think about like what it means, I am American, what it means to be an American, you know, we're free thinkers. We're there's not as much of a sense of community, say, in America as there is here in Europe. You know, I think people who fled or left or emigrated to America, they're more individualistic, and so American Made kind of celebrates one of these people, Barry Seal, who's really just sort of out for himself and out for his family. Kind of feels like an American pioneer.
Absolutely. In preparing for this interview, I read that you're not 100% sure how you're going to do the projects when you take them on. So what was the toughest thing that you had to figure out when you were making this movie?
Well, American Made, I really had a sense of tone because of Gary Spinelli's screenplay that had a lot of humor in terms of the CIA deciding to conduct this secret war with all of these pilots and basing them in Arkansas. They're like, oh, we'll just put it in Arkansas. No one will look in Arkansas. And there's a lot of humor to Gary's screenplay because, like, well, no one's going to look in Arkansas except the people who live in Arkansas. So there were these two worlds meeting in a most unexpected place. But also, you know, my father actually ran the investigation into these events for the United States government. And so as serious as the investigation was, he used to laugh about, you know, this kind of this group of rebels in Central America that were supposed to be overthrowing the Nicaraguan government but had no interest in fighting. And he used to sort of laugh about the details of that. And so I kind of knew all along that it was going to be exciting because of the flying, but there was going to be humor throughout this story.
Gotcha. I really like the soundtrack to this movie. I think it's great. I'm just curious about how did you go about picking the songs that you used?
It's you know, Tom Cruise and I and the screenwriter actually lived in a house together when we were making the film. And, you know, it was an independent film of sorts. I mean, it was a big budget independent film, but it's Tom Cruise's first independent film. And I thought, you know, let's celebrate that by doing something you'd expect independent filmmakers to do, live in a house together. Of course, it was, you know, it's Tom Cruise, so it was a mansion and it had a tennis court, basketball court, and a swimming pool. But we were independent filmmakers all living in a house together making a film, and we actually shot some of the film in our house. But we also had the screenwriter, Gary Spinelli, had created sort of a mixtape for us of music from the era, and we would just play it in the house. So we were living and breathing kind of 80s music. And then we kind of got sick of it. So we were putting other music in the movie while we were editing, and then we actually came full circle back to sort of the writer's mixtape from when we started.
Amazing. Next film you're going to shoot is the sequel to Edge of Tomorrow. I think it's the first sequel you've made. Why did you decide to do this one as your first sequel?
Well, I was not going to make a sequel to Edge of Tomorrow. I'm not really interested in sequels. I'm interested in sort of trying new things, new places. It's why I was attracted to Barry Seal's sort of story in American Made, because it's not only nothing like I've done before, but Barry as a character is just sort of taking this airplane and venturing out into parts unknown. And that's kind of my interest in terms of my career. But we came up with an idea for a sequel that's so shockingly revolutionary for how a sequel would get made. And it's so fresh and it's such a fun story and we only even started talking about a sequel because there was so much fan affection for the movie that people started asking us about a sequel. And there was so much love for the film. I mean, more than any film, it used to be that people come up to me and talk to me about Born Identity. But it's Edge of Tomorrow is the one that people constantly come up and talk to me about. And it was like, wow, there's so much affection for the film. We at least owe looking at it and seeing, is there an idea for a sequel? And we came up with an idea that, like, I can't stop talking about.